could see it and regulators could see it, and somebody was trying to cover it up. And Dodd and Frank are right smack in the middle of this. And as I said the other day, all of these people, Mr. Sullivan from AIG, Franklin Raines from Fannie Mae, who was, by the way, Clinton's former budget director, Richard Fuld from Lehman Brothers, the CEO that ran that into the ground, James Kane from Bear Stearns, SEC Chairman Christopher Cox, Angelo Mazzillo, the CEO of Countrywide Financial, which was the biggest provider of subprime mortgages in the entire country, Phil Gramm, former Republican senator from Texas, because of legislation he pushed through and snuck through right before Clinton left office. All of these people and any other ranking House or Senate Democrats or Republicans, dating back to when this problem started to rear its ugly head 10 years ago and people could see it coming, under the watchful eye of Bill Clinton, I might add, all of these people should have been escorted out of the chambers of Congress in jumpsuits and shackles, orange jumpsuits, by federal marshals. All of them, including Mr. Bush, who in 2003 stood there and said, you know, Anglos owned too high a percentage of homes in this country. We got to do something about that. We've got to make it easier for minorities and for people that are not of means to be able to afford more affordable housing. Okay. Well, look. The other thing I wanted to point out is this, because last week I said this, and it offended Lane, that, look, Bush it doesn't get any worse than this. You can't get any worse than this. It's the pits, it's the bottom, it's the snake pit, man, of presidents. I mean, his legacy is secure. He will go down in history with James J. Buchanan and Herbert Hoover. However, you have to assess and be fair when you point fingers. And I said last Thursday that Bush inherited a recession from Clinton. And that is a fact. The economy was going south. The tech bubble was bursting. The NASDAQ was in a free fall. And the bottom line is that recession, 6 weeks into Bush's term, was not his fault. Any more than it was Clinton's fault for the first World Trade Center bombing 6 weeks into his tenure. In no way. That is an embarrassment to George Herbert Walker Bush, the former director of the CIA, for our intelligence to be so shoddy so as to allow 6 weeks into the next term for president, which was what Clinton inherited, for the World Trade Center to be bombed out. And then when they didn't finish the job, they came back and they did it in 2001. Only this time, I'm not going to blame Bush for the recession of 2001. No, he doesn't deserve the blame for that. But he was in office for 8 months, and he did ignore all the warning signs, and 8 months is long enough a grace period. And I don't think that it's fair to blame Bill Clinton or anybody else for what happened on 9/11. I think the buck has to stop here. It has to stop here sometimes. It never stops here anymore. There are no more Harry Trumans out there. There are no more FDRs out there. There are no more JFKs out there. There are no more Ike Eisenhowers out there. I think those men were all outstanding presidents. Some would say, all right, Truman, you fired Douglas MacArthur. Well, what was Douglas MacArthur's beef? He didn't agree with the Korean War. So Truman, I think, made a big mistake there. This recession right now clearly happened under Bush's watch and Bush's policies. Not the first one, at the beginning of his term. That's Clinton. This one is Bush, all the way. The Republicans controlled the Congress for 6 of his 8 years. They controlled the Congress from 1994 to 2006. The results are out there for the whole world to see. It has been a disaster. There is no doubt. He is the most incompetent chief executive in U.S. history, bar none, and I've been saying that for 3 years. And the other thing that I pointed out the other day was that I'm distancing myself. You want to be part of a cult, drink the Kool-Aid. Go ahead. These two parties have put us in the fix we are in. The Democrats and the Republicans have allowed me, by their behavior, to understand objectively how dysfunctional and how corrupt the two-party system is. And I just get frustrated when somebody so intelligent says things that are so ignorant. And I'm talking about Lane, because he's a smart guy. He's just dead-ass wrong if he thinks that the Democratic Party doesn't have warts. 214-1600, 866-514-1600. Again, I was 36-year-old when I took a bold step in my life. I quit supporting the Democrat for president unconditionally. And with age come two things, wisdom and maturity. And I've said all along, George, trust your gut. I'm not right about everything, but when it comes to my political instincts over the last 20 years, when I followed my gut, stuck to my convictions, I've been on the money every single time. Sit on the fence? I don't want to sit on the fence. I want to be proactive in throwing out all the sons of bitches that have sold us out and put this country on the brink of disaster. The culprits are easy to identify. One cult wears a hat with an elephant on it. The other wears a hat with a jackass on it. And if you want to be a jackass, go right ahead. I have had it. The election is next Tuesday, and I'm on the fence all right. I know I can't win, and more importantly, you can't win with either of these two candidates. Neither one of these guys, I'm telling you, can deliver on their promises without bankrupting this country. I do not want liver and onions, and I do not want Grecian fish, the whole fish, bones and all, with the head, the gills, and the tomato sauce. No thank you. We'll be back after these messages. You're listening to AM 1600